Hello and welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, I'm Sharon. I make videos about CPA, my CPA career, and just the CPA profession in general. I'm so excited to be bringing you guys a new video today because I have my dear friend with me, Rachel. Rachel Ellis, CPA, is a businesswoman and an accomplished professional, currently running her own CPA practice. I met Rachel at the University of Maryland when we were both studying accounting at the Smith Business School. And I'm so excited to have her here today because she has a ton of wisdom to share. In this video, we go through her CPA journey, her exam tips, how she's currently running her own practice, and just she shares some really great tips and gems that I think everyone who is in the profession or trying to start out in the profession can definitely benefit from. So if this is something you're interested in, definitely stay tuned and keep watching. I'm so excited to be spending time with you today, Rachel.
Yes, me too, Sharon.
Yeah, so I'll have you start by, let's say you're talking directly to a viewer who's tuned in today to listen to what we have to say about CPA profession.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them directly what they can expect to hear from you and what they can expect to learn today.
Sure. Today I hope that you get a major takeaway about the differences between having values and kind of letting your life be led through your values versus having goals and being goal-oriented, and also kind of taking advantage of all of the opportunities to help others with whatever opportunities you're presented, as well as accepting change and taking advantage of all the changes that life brings.
That's great. I'm ready to get started.
Yes, me too.
Okay. So in order to go forward, sometimes we have to look back. So I'd like you to just tell me, give me the earliest piece of context or thing that I need to know about you to understand the accomplished woman sitting next to me today.
Thank you. I would say I grew up very unconventional, kind of always, not down the beaten path. So I grew up on a farm with my parents and my younger brother. My mom is a reading specialist. My dad is a CPA, now politician. So, and my brother and I were both homeschooled. So, we spent our days together just learning. And in the summer, we would go to DC and sell watermelons. So we always had that entrepreneurial spirit as well. And so just taking those foundation blocks with me throughout life, and now I'm back to the unconventional living. So yeah.
Wow, that's exciting. So were you homeschooled in the entirety of your growing up, and then UMD was your very first time out of homeschooling?
No, I actually started homeschool in 7th grade to 12th grade.
Okay.
So when I first started, I went to private school, then I went to public school, then I was homeschooled, but my brother was homeschooled from 1st grade to 12th grade.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's really hard because I have a daughter.
Yes.
And I can't imagine your parents and just the time and the commitment.
It takes a lot of sacrifice, but fortunately they were available and they had the time to do it, so they definitely made that investment.
Yeah. So you mentioned your dad is a CPA.
Mm-hmm.
So did that inspire your path, to pursue accounting and pursue the CPA?
It definitely did. I remember in the morning when I was going to school, private school, he would drive me to school and have me count the coins in the car and just kind of instill those money values. And I also did a summer program when I was in high school. I went to Bryant University in Rhode Island for a case study, a week-long case study that was sponsored by Inroads. It's a nonprofit organization, as well as PwC. So at the end of the week, we had a case study presentation and we got to go to PwC's Boston office and meet the partners. So that's when I really decided I wanted to major in accounting in college, because I like working in teams and I like case studies and the business environment.
Wonderful. And now you're currently running your own CPA firm.
Yes.
Ellis CPA LLC. So I would like to get into that and learn more about how you got there, but maybe take us back through your journey, from start. Say, I know we met at Maryland.
Yes.
And we were doing accounting together. So take me through, from Maryland, your graduation from Maryland, and where you went through with your career and how you ended up now running your own practice.
Definitely. So after the high school program at Bryant University, I decided to major in accounting, applied to University of Maryland, got accepted into the Robert H. Smith School of Business. I added information systems as another major to reach the 150 credit hours.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
Oh yeah, to sit for the CPA exam because that was one of the best options at the time. And I remember you were actually kind of like my tutor for a few classes. Like you always knew what you were doing and you're so talented. So I remember actually asking you for help a few times. But focused on accounting in undergrad. I also had 4 summers of internships with KPMG. So I was an Inroads intern and they placed me with KPMG. They had a program called Corporate Management Internship, and it was founded by Frank Ross. He was the first Black partner at KPMG and the founder of NABA, and probably one of the first Black partners in the United States at a public accounting firm. So I spent 4 summers in the CMI internship, learning about the corporate culture, meeting the people in the federal audit practice, learning more about like the practical applications of audit. And then I accepted a full-time offer with KPMG, and my main client was Department of the Treasury. And a smaller component of it, which was a community development financial institution. So their goal was to provide grants and loans to underserved organizations around the United States. So I spent 5 years there, and in the off season when I wasn't working on the Treasury engagement, I would go around the country to different Fortune 500 clients to help them with their audits. So I spent some time in Texas, like I was working with Zale Jewelry and 7-Eleven audits, getting them to the audit completion. So it was, always something to do, pretty exciting. I decided I wanted some Department of Defense experience. So I obtained a secret clearance and then went over to EY and worked on their Marine Corps and Navy engagements. So I was a manager over a financial statement line item for the Navy and the Marine Corps.
So in your experience in public accounting, you've been focused more on like I would call it the government sector.
Yes, absolutely.
Was that intentional?
Not really. Like I knew I wanted a foundation in audit, but given that we're in the DC area, there was a great need for like federal audit resources, even state and local. I worked on the city of Baltimore and the city of Midland, Texas audits as well. So there was a need there, and it's kind of a niche. But I don't have any regrets about it, but that was definitely my focus.
So do you think your experience in like the government sector and public accounting helps you with transition now into running your own practice?
Absolutely. Especially the work I did with municipalities like the city of Baltimore, the city of Midland, Texas. A lot of the municipalities I work with now, they like that I have that past experience. So I can share with them the work I did there, and they do appreciate it.
How did you decide to branch out on your own? Because I just feel like that's like a really, like you're technically right now a business owner, like an entrepreneur running your own business. And that's different. I mean, I feel public accounting is very entrepreneurial in its own way. But I think there's definitely a difference running your own practice, being responsible for your own employees and your own financials and your own like revenue. So like tell me a little bit about how you made the decision to like branch out and start your own thing.
Sure. Like initially, my goal was always to be manager at a public accounting firm. And once I reached it, I was thinking, what's next? Do I want to go into industry? Or a lot of people do that. But, just I pay attention to a lot of like politics on a local level, even national level. And there have been a lot of changes in terms of our county politics as up to our state level politics, where representation is representative of the constituents more now than ever. And there's a big emphasis on supporting minority-owned businesses and making sure that that procurement and opportunities are being allocated to qualified minority business owners. So I didn't want to let this moment go by without, taking advantage of it and seeing what could happen and how I could make a difference. So I said, let me just save my money and just branch out and make it do what it do.
Yeah. So how long have you right now been in practice with your CPA firm?
It's been a little over a year, so a year and 1 month, as we started June of last year.
Wow, amazing. What is it like on a day-to-day, like running your own firm?
It's always eventful. Like, if I could use one word to describe it, because you have your calendar with your appointments, your clients, you know what deadlines you have, but there's always that phone call you're not expecting, of a client referral or an event that you can network and build your client base with. And it's always something unexpected that comes up. Even with the interns and the employees, there's always something new that happens.
I mean, that sounds like a really exciting journey, and I'm sure there's more to come.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to have the stamina, because I'm used to like a high-paced environment, at EY and KPMG, but this is like it takes a different type of stamina.
Yeah. I think public accounting is very notorious for like the hours and the long hours and busy seasons. Would you say that lifestyle has helped in a way like build you to where you are right now, to like running your own firm? Like, are there any skills that you can pinpoint like from public accounting that's helped you right now with your own practice?
Yes, just the expectation of hard work. We've always put in long hours in public accounting, so that's always been the expectation for me, just to get the job done and not really focus on, it's 5 p.m., laptops off. That's never been the case for me. Yeah. And then also just developing those organizational skills. Because, we have a lot of work papers, a lot of documents that we have to annotate and keep organized. Having an organized schedule, having organized documents, that has really helped me in an entrepreneurial environment.
Yeah. Are you responsible for also like hiring and?
Yes, everything. Hiring, onboarding, yes.
So how do you source your, like, say you're sourcing a staff or something like that, how do you source them?
So I use various methods. Indeed has been very useful. Even LinkedIn, Upwork. It depends on the type of work I'm looking for, because I hire employees, contractors. So depending on the type of work will determine like the different venue I use to find resources.
Yeah. I think it's incredible that you are running your own CPA firm, but obviously you need a CPA license to run a CPA firm.
Yes.
So take me back through like the process of like studying for the exam and what that was like. I know a lot of my viewers are people who are either in the profession trying to take the exam or students who are just out of college trying to study for the exam. Yeah. Maybe take me through the process of taking the exam, and if you have any like study tips that you remember that you can share that can be helpful to someone who's currently in that path.
Absolutely. And I don't know about you, but that was the hardest exam I ever had to take. It was so challenging. So I spent about a year taking all 4 parts of the exam. I was instructed to, or advised to take the hardest parts first. And I would recommend that to anybody currently taking the CPA exam. So I took FAR first, and then audit, then Reg and BEC. I used Becker, so that worked well for me. I know depending on your learning style, you could choose a course that works best for your learning style. Some people like in-person courses. I was using like the virtual courses because it gave me more flexibility. And just keep taking those practice tests. And when you get close to 75 or higher consistently, then you'll know you're ready to sit for the exam. And also focusing on the areas where you're weaker to build up your competency in those areas and focus on those.
Yeah, I think that's a really good tip, because I do remember someone telling me that when I was studying as well. Like, when you do the practice exams, make sure that it would be a good indicator that you're ready for the exam is if you scored higher than 75 on the practice exams.
Yep.
So that was a good way for me to say, okay, now I'm ready to go sit for FAR. Now I'm ready to go sit for BEC. Like when I technically passed like the Becker exam. So I think that's a very good tip.
Absolutely. And I actually started off with Wiley CPA, and that just was not working for me. I know at the time Becker was kind of the standard, and I found it to be the most useful.
Yeah, I used Becker as well. Because at the time, and I think it's still the same right now, the big four firms typically sponsor or pay for you to use Becker. So that was the option I had, so I just used it.
To me, it's the best option.
Yeah. Okay, so now let's move on to I want to call this section reflecting on your career so far. So thinking back through your career and how far you've come, do you look back and think about any mentors or sponsors that played an important role in your career? Like how did mentorship or sponsorship play a role in your career?
It's really pivotal. I would say just having a mentor that has been where you are and has the foresight to look ahead, that are interested in your goals and can have the foresight to give you opportunities to prepare you so you are really ready to achieve those goals when the time comes. That's really priceless. And people talk about sponsors all the time that advocate for you when you're not in the room, like when they're in rooms making decisions, advocate for you. And sometimes it's just not who you would expect. And that's just the excitement and unpredictability of having mentors and sponsors, because it really sometimes depends on the moment or experience. Somebody really steps up and sees potential in you and helps you achieve your goals and get to where you want to go.
Yeah, no, I think the same thing. I can think through my careers and the experiences I've had, and I feel like it was people who were rooting for me when I was not in the room and just making sure I got the right opportunities that would help me excel in my career.
Definitely.
Yeah. Now let's think back through your career. I know there's usually always hard times, there's fun times, but I would like you to share with us one of your favorite memories in your career so far.
Yeah, it was actually recent. So one thing about entrepreneurship, we go to a lot of networking events. I kind of build my client base in a traditional way of, hi, I'm Rachel. I'm owner of Ellis CPA LLC. I provide these services. So I was at a networking breakfast for one of the Maryland business organizations, and there's a lot of prime companies there that you can have joint ventures with and work on contracts together. So I was there meeting primes, and I actually bumped into someone in my network that I met the year before at Governor Moore's inauguration. And he's a successful business owner. He has many locations. And he said, I'm really inspired by, your energy and your dedication to growing your business and helping the community. And he actually wrote me out a $2,000 check that day, as an angel investor and potential client. So I didn't wake up that morning expecting to get a check, so it was just really a pleasant surprise.
No, that's amazing. That's amazing. And I feel like it's such a small world, right, with accounting and just the people you meet and your network. You just never know, someone you meet today, you might meet them tomorrow and they'll be a business owner. They might be a client or just someone you get to work with. So
that's another thing about keeping your networks active, because I hear from people I haven't heard from in years, and it's wow, I didn't expect us to be working together at this point. But that's what's just so exciting about entrepreneurship.
Yeah, amazing. I'm glad to hear that you're really having really great experiences running your firm.
It can get challenging, but overall I'm loving it.
So where's your firm located? Are you based in the Maryland area or?
Yes, we're based in Hyattsville, Maryland. So Prince George's County.
Okay, nice. Okay. So let's talk about accomplishments. Tell me about a personal accomplishment that you're most proud of.
I would say helping people in my network. I love to hear from people that were on my teams when I was in corporate that asked me for letters of recommendation. They're going back to school. They're expanding their expertise. I really like to support them if they have questions about their career path or where they want to go. I really like Gen Z students, so providing them with internship opportunities since they're interested a lot in entrepreneurship, taking them to networking events with me, showing them how I started my business. Any way I can help them, especially Black professionals, women professionals, young professionals. I really love pouring into them and helping them along their journey. So that really invigorates me.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. It's always nice to give back and see people grow just based on your giving.
Mm-hmm. And just knowing that they feel comfortable coming to me when they need help or they need that support, it really feels good. Yeah.
Whenever I think about my time in public accounting, I feel like I can look back in my career and see how I was when I started. Like, I didn't know anything. I learned a lot in my career. So I want to hear from you, like, looking back in your career and just in your personal life right now, are there any like personal like skills or hacks or lifestyle habits that you're currently benefiting from in your personal life that you can say, oh, I definitely learned that when I was in public accounting, or just from interactions with people in public accounting, or just something like that?
Learning a lot about how to interact with clients. I know when I was at University of Maryland, our professors would give us advice on how to respond if a client is kind of defensive or what have you, but nothing beats on-the-job experience, learning how to remain professional, deliver a good service, and kind of develop a good relationship with the client and maintain that. That's something that takes a while to develop, but once you have it, it's absolutely priceless. So having a client-facing profession, having that experience in public accounting helped a lot as a business owner. And then some tips from you, like you are very organized and structured in terms of the tools you use to stay organized. I'm not quite at that level, but I would consider myself pretty organized, and that helps with efficiency a lot.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of my organization skills came from having to juggle multiple clients, multiple deadlines, and just you kind of have to find a way to like keep everything moving and keep everything on track. And so I feel like being organized, I just had to.
Yes. But not everybody is organized.
Okay, let's move on to just tips and advice for like viewers who are watching, or people who might tune in today hoping to like take something away from this video. So I see you like doing really amazing things like in your community, like with your work, with your personal life, traveling, vacationing. And I know like being a professional and having my personal life as well, I know how hard it is to like balance work and life and still make time for yourself. So maybe share a little bit about how you make time for yourself and how you prioritize that, and what tips do you have in terms of balancing like professional and personal life?
Absolutely. And I've had a long to-do list, it feels like, for the past decade, just always something new on the list, but prioritizing helps a lot. And in the morning, looking at my to-do list, figuring out what has to get done today, can't wait another day, figuring out some things I could push to the end of the week, or when is a good time to, or the best time to accomplish all my to-dos on my list, helps me balance things a lot, prioritizing.
Yeah. No, I think the same thing too. I definitely start with a to-do list as well. I usually would plan my lists the day before. Yeah. And then just make sure then the next day I kind of have a clear plan of what I want to accomplish for the day. It
supports your memory too, because sometimes when the list gets so long, you forget a few things, but if you have your list, you remember everything you have to do and you can prioritize it so nothing slips through the cracks.
So looking back on your journey and how far you've come, if you were to go back and give yourself one advice, like in hindsight, like what advice would you give yourself? Say you're talking to Rachel, who's just graduating from UMD and entering the workforce. Like what advice would you give yourself?
I would say ask more questions. I feel like I was really shy, but people gave me the advice, you'll never be able to ask as many questions again in your career because the expectation when you start your career is that you don't know. So just taking advantage of that and asking the whys behind all of the tasks that you're assigned, how it fits into an audit as a whole, and just getting a bigger picture understanding of what's happening. That's so important. And it's your senior's job, it's your manager's job to teach you as a new hire. That's what they're there for. So asking as many questions as you can and doing as much research and being curious.
Yeah, I think that's a really good advice because as you're starting as someone who's starting your career, that's the time to just soak in and learn and just take in as much as you can. I think that's a very great opportunity for you to ask as many questions as you can, so just to help with your learning.
Absolutely.
For sure. Okay, let's say you're speaking to a student, whoever's watching is a student, and they're just starting their CPA journey. What do you think they need to hear and be reminded of?
Take advantage of your opportunities and keep in mind your values and your goals. I know as successful, motivated people, we always kind of prioritize our goals and what we want to accomplish. But I found that what gives us a lot of satisfaction is to prioritize our values as well. That gives us joy and fulfillment in life. So keeping not only your goals in mind, but what you value. Do you value family? Do you value time to exercise, fitness? Do you value, all these important things, mental health, and just prioritizing that along the way as you accomplish your goals will create a more holistic, positive experience.
Yeah. I agree. Let's say you're speaking to a CPA professional who has been in the profession for a few years. They're feeling discouraged, they're feeling burnt out, they just feel I don't think I can do this anymore. What do you think they need to hear and be reminded of? Because you've been in the profession for close to more than 10 years now.
Yeah, more than 10 years.
Yeah.
Burnout is real. Feeling discouraged at times does happen. At that point, it's always good to take a step back and prioritize your health. Seek help if you need it. Take a break. A few days vacation, take some time off to kind of recenter yourself and then get back to it. If it's something where you really need to get something done, maybe take a break and go on a walk, and just kind of anything to change the scenery so you can put things in perspective. Perspective is important. I mean, while our job is important for shareholders and stakeholders, it's not like a life or death situation. So taking a step back and putting things in perspective helps a lot.
Yeah, no, I echo that as well. I think sometimes people go through busy season, you go through really challenging times at work and you just feel so stressed. But yeah, definitely take things into perspective, look at the bigger picture and say, okay, can I take a step back? Can I take a walk? Can I just clear my mind? Because I found that personally with myself, when I feel so much stress at work, sometimes it's just a matter of just unplugging and just going out for some air for just a little bit, and you come back with just a new perspective, a new way to solve the problem. And so I think that typically helps me. So I think that's a really great advice.
Thank you. It helps me too.
Okay, I think we're going to wrap up now. So any other closing remarks that you have, and you could also share where people can find you and connect with you further.
Definitely. I mean, it's been a pleasure spending time with you today. I would say to everyone, remember your purpose, your values, your goals, and always center those as you go through life and take advantage of the opportunities you have to make a difference for others and help others along your journey. Always welcome change. Life may not end up how you expected it, but it's still beautiful and it still has so much value, and take advantage of all those opportunities. I have an Instagram page. It's Ellis CPA LLC, and I also have a website, www.elliscpallc.com.
Okay, thank you so much. It was so nice having you.
Thank
I'm so glad we were able to do this and make this happen.
Yes, me too.
You guys definitely can reach out to her, connect with her on Instagram, and you can check her out on her website.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.